meeting to order. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation follow. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Goodar, Green,
Here.
Lefore,
Here.
Nastrovich,
Here.
Ricks,
Here.
Schultz,
Here.
Yar.
Here.
Motion to excuse Jeff from tonight's meeting due to work, I believe. He's
Being out of town for work.
for work.
So moved.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Move on to approval of minutes for the regular meeting of September 15th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support. Motion been made and supported. Any discussion on those minutes?
Mr. Mayor, on page 5 of 5, the adjournment should read, motion by Schultz, seconded by Mistrovich.
Okay. Okay. Jeff, you're good with that? You made the motion? Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We'll move on to audience comments on any non-agenda items. I would say we have the presentation from Turning Point on domestic violence awareness, if they would like to address us at this time.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Tina Solomon, and I am representing Turning Point. I'm here because October is National Domestic Violence Month, Awareness Month. For over 30 years, Turning Point has been providing emergency support and prevention services to our community. A total of 17 Richmond residents were served by Turning Point last year. Turning Point believes that education is the key to prevention. Last year, our prevention staff presented 384 educational sessions to 5,671 students in Macomb County. We know that our program is making a difference. As students are learning that abuse is never the survivor's fault. Skills to develop equal and respecting relationships, how to be a responsible bystander, and how to help a friend or a peer. Students who participated in the program increased their knowledge of these very important topics by 29%. As community members, we can support these efforts by educating the children in our lives about equal and respecting relationships. We can educate ourselves about the myths and facts about domestic violence and speak up when someone is blaming the victim. We can speak out if we witness harassment or abuse. I take this opportunity to invite all of you, our public officials, to the many planned events throughout the community this month, and to please wear a purple ribbon to raise awareness and support solutions to end family violence. It will take the active involvement from the entire community to end domestic violence. We also ask you to share what you have learned about Turning Point and domestic violence awareness with at least one person in your personal life. Model healthy relationships to young people and volunteer your time. Turning Point, Macomb County's only domestic violence and sexual assault shelter, newly opened our 52 beds, 1,200 square foot protective housing facility. This shelter provides 13 handicap accessible suites, 9 within suite baths, a playground, state-of-the-art security, and a family-focused living environment. The expansion results in a 30% increase in capacity. We are now much better equipped to provide life-saving support, which is a vital part of the region's safety net. We wouldn't have been able to accomplish this goal without the wonderful support of the entire community. We want to recognize the members of this community who volunteered at Turning Point and support Turning Point through donations. Thank you for your attention. I also have ribbons and some more information, and I have October's calendar in here if you guys would like ribbons, because purple is the color of Domestic Violence Month. If you'd like them for yourselves or for somebody else, if I could give them to you.
Certainly, certainly.
Thank you. Thank you again for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I believe our police department has used Turning Point in the past. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate what you guys do. Anybody else like to address city council? We will move on. Adoption of agenda. Mr. City Manager, any changes?
No changes.
City council, any changes? No. Being not, a motion to accept the agenda as presented would be in order.
So moved.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion passes. Need a motion for the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
What's been made and supported, there is no discussion on the consent agenda motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. We move on to items for consideration, which we have 7 this evening. The first one being consideration of bid award for winter maintenance at the police post. Mr. City Manager?
City Council is scheduled to consider awarding the winter maintenance contract for the police post. The post is open 24 hours a day and therefore needs to have priority. And as our DPW's priority is first, streets first and parking lots second. In the past, we've always contracted this out. We have revised the contract to acknowledge the loss of the state police. And Jim has actually worked with the police chief. Jim Getzinger has worked with the police chief to even kind of tweak it a little bit further for this coming winter. We did have a bid award, and the low bidder was Kevin's Lawn Care, and we're recommending the award to them.
Very good. Is there a motion before discussion?
I'll make a motion to award the police post winter maintenance contract to Kevin's Lawn Care and Snow Removal with expenses charged to appropriate line item, building maintenance, contract building and grounds, police post, general fund.
Support.
What's been made and supported? Is there any discussion? Is this a savings from last year since they're not doing as much?
I didn't check,
Do we
Jim,
know?
did you see if?
Well, it's a unit price contract, so it depends on how the winter is. We won't have a final amount until the season's over.
Okay.
The amount of plowing is roughly the same. Last year, there was kind of a misunderstanding between myself and our public works director on when that back half was supposed to get plowed.
Was that not part of the contract last year?
It was not part of the contract
Oh,
last year.
okay,
It's
I
still
thought
not,
that-
but we have a better understanding of when we're supposed to get to that.
Oh, okay.
Than we did last year.
Okay, I thought that was
Caused a
all
couple
part
issues.
of the,
No, we had actually made that switch last year.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, any other discussion? Any audience participation on this? Back to the table? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Item number 2 is consideration of special event activity permit tent sale at the Pocket Park for Manasi's Banquet Center. Actually, should be probably Richmond Flower Shop, should it not? Yes. Okay. Go right ahead, John.
Al and Teresa Maniaci, the owners of Richmond Flower Shop, have come back again in the spring. They had a similar request for a tent to sell spring flowers. This time they'd like to have the 10 by 20 tent in the Pocket Park to sell Christmas wreaths and grave blankets from November 20th through December 11th. And we may have forgot to mention to Al and Teresa that they were on the agenda tonight, so we apologize for them not being here.
So they'll be surprised when they hear they've been engaged.
Yeah.
Okay. We need a motion before discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the tent request from Richmond Flower Shop from November 20th to December 11th. The tent shall be placed parallel to the side of the building near the location denoted on the attached map.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? It was awfully nice when they had what they did last time. They did create kind of a atmosphere on Main Street, and it was very positive, I think. So,
I think it actually turned out much better than what we
yeah.
anticipated when they first came for that last year, or this past year.
There were no complaints last time from other businesses or anything. Okay. Okay.
How long was it But it was just for the weekend, it wasn't for 3 weeks?
I think they had 2 weeks last
It was at
time.
least, yeah, it was at least a couple of weeks.
Or, it was more than a weekend.
Okay.
I don't believe it was 3 weeks, though, no.
Any other discussion? Any audience participation on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Item number 3, consideration of introduction and first reading of ordinance number 156-16, wind energy ordinance. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to give introduction first reading to the ordinance 156-16, which would create a wind energy ordinance. Currently, the zoning ordinance does not address wind energy turbines, and therefore the city does not have any established method which applications can be reviewed by. The Planning Commission brought this to the attention of the administration, who worked for quite a few months on this. The city planner did a lot of research in this area on what other communities in Michigan are doing. Kind of the template for most wind energy ordinances have been used, kind of follow the Ottawa County and City of Walker model. And Troy borrowed heavily from those. Ours has one small change from theirs, which is Planning Commission wanted more input on the review process rather than have an administrative review. So that's reflected in the ordinance that's before you. And City Planner Troy Jeske is here if you have questions.
Is there a motion before discussion?
I move to introduce and give first reading to ordinance 156-16, which amends Article 16, reserved to create a wind energy ordinance for the city of Richmond.
Support? Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion?
I appreciate that we're trying to get ahead of it and wait till the question to be raised.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like John was saying, we have made it so that they have to come back to the Planning Commission itself for any requests. That's even the homeowners, any type of wind turbine, for good reason.
Even temporary uses such as anemometers, which would be used by a company looking for the wind energy yield for the area. Permission to put up an anemometer would also require Planning Commission review the way it's currently written.
Any questions of Troy while we got him up? Thank you, Troy. We did go over this over the last, actually, it's been a couple of years, hasn't it, that we've kind of,
It's been a while since, I know they ultimately held the public hearing in July, but I think they've been working on it for some time before that.
yeah, kind of kicking it around a
Kicking
little
it
bit,
around.
waiting to see what somebody else was doing with theirs too in similar communities. But yes, it's good to be proactive on this before it does hit us. Glad we're gonna have this in our book of ordinances. Any other comments? Any audience participation on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion passes. Item number 4 is consideration of adopting resolution 2014-16, annexation of city cemetery property. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to consider adopting Resolution 2014-16, a resolution to annex the City of Richmond Cemetery into the city limits. As you all know, the current city cemetery lies in Richmond Township to the north, and about a year ago, the Township Board had approached me and discussed this as a possible area where we could work together and bring the city cemetery into the city limits. City Attorney Rex Burgess has researched the issue, as well as he contacted the State Boundary Commission to ask their advice on how to do this the most efficient way. And with their feedback, he provided 2 resolutions, one for us and one for the township board to adopt after we're done with our resolution. So I know we've discussed this prior at previous council roundtable meetings, and it's before you tonight for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2014-16, a resolution to annex the City of Richmond Cemetery into the city limits and direct the city manager to prepare a letter stating that the city will only use the cemetery property for cemetery purposes.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Go right ahead.
It's just nice to see this good bridge building with us in Richmond Township, and talk about some of these issues we've had over the years. So appreciate the township reaching out in that way.
Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, it just seems appropriate that we would have the City of Richmond Cemetery within the city limits, so I think it's been long overdue, and it just shows the good working relationship we have with the Richmond Township and the city, and doing what is the appropriate thing to do.
I think we brought this up about 15 years ago. It just, this really wasn't that important that it come into the city because it's non-taxable property and whatnot, but it's nice to finally, we've got to that point where we can work together on this and definitely bring it into the city. I know my father will be happy that he's now laying in rest in the city of Richmond rather than in the township. So, any other discussion? Any audience participation? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 5, consideration of request to close M19 to conduct the annual homecoming parade for Richmond High School. Mr. City Manager?
The homecoming parade this year is scheduled for Friday, October 24th, beginning at 5 p.m. The parade will line up on Festival Drive and continue on to Washington Street to Main Street, travel south on Main to Division Road, and then Division down to the high school.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request from the Richmond High School to conduct the annual homecoming parade and direct the city clerk to apply to MDOT for permission to close M19 from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Friday, October 24th, 2014, to conduct the annual homecoming parade.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? I'd like to bring up one. For a number of years, that parade was held at 6 o'clock, I believe. And the parade would go right on over to the field, and they'd be all waiting to get onto the field at halftime and everything else, and it was a lot of hoopla. We had a lot of floats. It was a tradition in the community. They came to us and said they wanted to change things up a bit, and they wanted to get the football players into the parade again. They wanted to start at 5 o'clock in the afternoon rather than the 6 o'clock. We have done this for a number of years, and I've never seen the football players in the parade. God, it'd be nice if we could get back a little bit of tradition and get the football players back into the parade. And I'd just like to send that message to the school that we changed it back to 5 o'clock for you, and with the understanding that it was so that the boys could be honored in a parade going down Main Street along with the classes, and that has never transpired. So that's all I want to say about it. It's just always kind of, why did we change it if they're not going to utilize it? And I understand all the, psyching up for a game. I've coached 31 years now and coached high school for almost 20. And I understand, but it's homecoming, and we need to bring some traditions back to our community. We've lost quite a few over the years, and maybe this is one that would be worth at least bringing up to the school. So,
I think the ones you do see in the parade are the ones that are on the court, the senior court, so.
yeah,
I think those are the ones that you only really see.
yeah, so it's
Yep.
diminished since there's no floats anymore. What do they use, banners or something?
Yeah, they can't take the floats around the tracks because it
Yeah.
messes up the track. and-
Yeah, so, something.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, anyhow, Hopefully something can be worked out a little bit. Homecoming in a small town, in any town, homecoming should be a great time. And I think we've lost a lot of pizzazz when it comes to our homecomings because we don't really have much of a parade there, for one reason or another. Maybe the Good Old Days Festival will get involved and help them pick it up a little bit.
Good old days, good old homecoming.
Yeah, good old homecoming. There you go. There you go.
The Christmas parade director?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe Counselor Schultz could do to the homecoming parade what he did for the
Absolutely.
Christmas.
Little warm up to the Christmas parade.
Resurrects the-
Absolutely.
We'll send our guy over.
I don't think so.
Okay, any other discussion on this? Any audience participation on this? Back to the table. And I'm trying to remember again, we do close traffic down. Okay. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Item number 6, consideration of accepting a resignation from the library board. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider accepting the resignation of David Parker from the library board. In accordance with section 4.12 of the city charter, council must act on the resignation at the next regular meeting.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept the resignation of David Parker from the library board.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Is there any discussion?
I regretfully make that, but I appreciate what he has done for the library board, and I hope he continues to stay active in his new community that he moves to.
Anything else? Any audience participation on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Item number 7, consideration of adopting the 2015 City Council regular meeting schedule. Mr. City Manager.
In order to comply with the requirements of the Open Meetings Act, council must establish the schedule of council meetings for the upcoming year. Presented before you is the schedule if we stay to the first and third Monday of the month at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to adopt the 2015 City Council meeting schedule as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion on this? Any audience participation on this? Back to the table. What I would like to see maybe in one of our workshops is a possibility of maybe earlier starting times, maybe during the summer or something. It's always 7 o'clock at night. And I like the idea that we, at least good old days, we moved. We've talked about it before about having, the meetings in other venues. Mix it up a little bit, maybe get out and about a little bit. We probably won't be in the new city hall until sometime in the spring.
Right, yep,
Okay.
probably late April, May,
Okay,
we'll be over there, but
yeah.
we can talk about that in a.
Can we talk about that in a workshop? Okay. Anything else? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We move on to city manager's comments, sir.
I have nothing tonight.
Wow, that's great. Must be probably something to do with that cold, huh?
Yes?
No. When you exhale that way.
No, he can only inhale.
Yeah. Council
Try my
comments.
best.
Michael?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay. Dennis?
Oh, I'm good.
Jeffrey?
Just want to share the fact that last few weeks, I've been up in Lansing a few times testifying in front of the Regulatory Reform Committee for local government on a bill 5513, which will allow local government to step in on health and safety issues in trailer parks in a more expedient way if there's sewage issues or so forth. And so that got voted on in committee. Hopefully it goes to the full legislature and gets passed. I want to thank Representative LaFontaine, who's on that committee, for helping to vote that out. of committee, and hopefully we'll see something to give us a little more ability to step in when there's health and safety concerns within trailer parks.
Was that with SEMCOG or MML or
SEMCOG.
with SEMCOG? Okay.
But as our, you know, as I am our representative to SEMCOG. And then SEMCOG, this is an issue that I took to SEMCOG, and SEMCOG has given us a lot of support on this
Good.
issue.
Good. Very good. Jamie?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing. Jim?
I've talked to John about the streetlights, that are not working properly in the city, and there's still one that hasn't been replaced since early spring on George and Main. And he informs me that it's the,
Detroit Edison, we're working with Detroit Edison.
Detroit Edison is,
In our,
it's kind of dragging their feet on it. So if people are wondering how come our lights are out, it's not us, it's them.
the police did a nice job. They went around and got all the numbers off the poles a few weeks ago now and submitted them, and we're just following up on that with Edison.
That's it.
Very good. Go to the calendar, today being October 6th. The recreation walkthrough has been canceled for tomorrow, and the planning commission meeting for October has been canceled for lack of agenda items. The library board, are they meeting still on the 13th?
I believe they are meeting.
Okay.
And
They'll be meeting at on the 13th at the library at 7 o'clock. The 14th of October, the Cable Commission will be meeting,
yes,
and EDC will be meeting on the 15th at 7 o'clock here at City Hall. And 2 weeks from tonight will be a 5 o'clock budget meeting for the Budget Committee of the City Council. And 7 o'clock will be the regular City Council meeting on the 20th right here at City Hall. And there will be a council roundtable meeting on the 21st, starting at 5:30 here at City Hall. Will Tifa be meeting on the 22nd still?
yes, as of right now.
Okay, TIF will be meeting on the 22nd at 7 o'clock. Is there anything else that we've got that we need to announce? I don't believe so. Okay, we will move on. We have a closed session this evening. We need a motion to go into closed session for negotiation purposes.
Make a motion to convene into closed session in accordance with Section 8C of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976, as amended for strategy and negotiation sessions connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement if either negotiating party requests a closed hearing.
Support. Motion been made and support. Is there any discussion? Being not, roll call?
Green,
Yes.
Lepore,
Yes.
Mistravich,
Yes.
Ricks.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Yark,
Yes.
and Goodart is absent.
Motion passes. We will go into closed session. We'll take a 5-minute break here.